All right, so we have now learned about writing equivalent fractions and changing fractions so they look different but have the same value. And we're going to use that knowledge to write with two fractions. We want to write fractions that have the same denominator. And we're going to be using that skill a lot over the next several lessons. We'll be using it for adding and subtracting fractions, and we'll be using it for comparing fractions in order, putting fractions in order from least to greatest, putting fractions on a number line, and we will also be using it for ordering fractions, putting fractions from least to greatest, all those things. So this is not hard, but it does require organization. So we're going to take this, and like we've done in several of our other notes, we're going to break it down into 4 steps. Now, in real life, you would do these 4 steps all together, but because we're doing it for notes and I want you to see each step separately, we're going to be doing some rewriting today. And that's not what we normally do, but for the purpose of our notes, we want to be able to see that. So the first thing we do is I start with the 2 fractions I have. I have 2/4 and 1/6. And if I said to you, well, which is bigger? And you might go, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell the difference between the two. And you're right, it is. If this were candy bars or pizzas, we like to use food to think about fractions. The size of the pieces are different, so it's really hard to, in our brains, imagine how to compare those or how to use those together. So we're going to give them something in common. We're going to give them something that makes them comparable, and that's the denominator. In order to do that, we're going to list the multiples of the denominators. And we practiced doing that several lessons ago where we wrote the multiples in a line right under that number. And we're going to continue to do that. So I'm going to list the multiples of 4 underneath the 4. And my first multiple 4 is 4, and it's already there, so I don't need to write it again. My second multiple of 4 is 8. So that would be 4 times 1 and 4 times 1 and 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. And 4 times 5 is 20. I'm hoping that's far enough for us and we don't need to go any further. If you don't find a match, you just need to keep going in your list of multiples. All right, now we're going to do the multiples of 6. So I have 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. And you've probably already noticed that we have come across a match. So it says in step 2, circle the least common multiple and count up from the circle to the line. So we're going to rewrite our multiples here underneath just so we can see these steps broken out. So I'm going to rewrite my 8, 12, 16, and 20, and my 6, 12, 18, and 24. So I've got my multiples out, and I'm going to circle the LCM. So in this case, it's 12. And the reason we circle it is because that number is actually going to be our common denominator. We're going to use the number we circled here in a minute, and that's going to be the common denominator. It also helps us keep our work organized because we're going to count up from the circle to the line, to the fraction bar. So I say I have 1, 2, 3, and instantly I write times 3 right here. And then I count from here, 1, 2, and I write times 2. I'm counting the number of multiples that it took to get to my match, and I'm going to multiply that top number by it. We're going to do a lot of practice with this so you can see how that works. All right, step 3, we're going to multiply the numerator by the number you counted. So this would be 2 times 3 is 6, and this would be 1 times 2 is 2. And step 4, the numerator is the number you circled. We already said that, so we're going to rewrite that 12 here to here. And the numerator is the product we got in step 3. So 2 times 3 was 6, and 1 times 2 is 2. And now I have fractions that are comparable. I can see that 6/12 and 2/12 are very different, and they have the same denominator, and that makes me be able to envision the size of the pieces. So if I said to you, I have a pizza that's cut into 12 pieces, and I get 6 pieces and you get 2 pieces of pizza, who got more pizza? It's very easy for you in your brain to go, well, Miss Kyle got more pizza because she got 6 out of the 12 pieces. So we're going to do a few more practice of the on those. And so what I want you to do is you can just use this space off to the side over here to do some practice work. And then when you go to your notebook, when you get back to school, you can cut out those spaces, those pieces, and write them in your notebook. So let's see here. I want to organize this a little bit here so you can see it a little better. All right, so if I give you 2 fractions like 2/3 and let's do 1/5. I'm going to start, just like it says in step 1, by making a list of my multiples. Now we're going to do all 4 of these steps together in one spot here. So let's start with my multiples. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. And 3 times 5 is 15. Let's hope going down 5 spaces is going to be enough. I think it is. Let's do my multiples of 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. And I can stop there because I see I have my first match. And as it says in step 2, we circle our matches. Now, my new fractions, I know that those are going to be my denominators. If you want to go ahead and write those in as your new denominator, you can. This also says that we're going to start from the circle and count to the line. So the circle is my number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to write that right away times 5 so I don't forget. 1, 2, 3 times 3. 2 times 5 is 10, and 1 times 3 is 3. And I wrote those products right on my fractions right away so I can see what my new fractions are. So 2/3 is equivalent to 10/15, and 1/5 is equivalent to 3/15, but we now have common denominators, so it's really easy for us to compare those and see how they are different. We're going to do one more, and I'm going to set it up and have you do it on your own. Pause the video, and once it's finished, start the video again and see how you did. So the 2 fractions we're going to work with, let's do 3/5 and let's do 4/10. I think those should work well together. So go ahead and pause the video, find the common denominators and write your new fractions, and then start the video again and we'll go over it together. All right, so we're going to write my multiples of 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. Hopefully you've already noticed there's a match, and it is okay if the match is the denominator we already have. 10 times 1 is 10, and there's my match. So my new denominator is 10. I'm going to count up. 1, 2 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 1. 4 times 1 is 4. And now I have equivalent fractions that I can compare.